Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Yana, and today we're going to be talking about weave, y'all. As y'all know, in our community, for some reason, everyone is obsessed with weave. Who is wearing it? Why they're wearing it? People over analyzing why they're wearing weave and all this other shenanigans. And of course, when outsiders see the arguments and the stereotypes behind you melanated American women wearing weave, here they come with their stigmas and stereotypes, and of course, prejudice added in it, and having their opinions and having the nerve to talk about, well, something that they really know nothing about. What urged me to do this video, I was scrolling down my Instagram and and I saw this ad of this pale European woman putting on a lace front wig, y'all. She was like putting on the glue around her edges and everything. And I went to YouTube to talk about the hypocrisy around you melanated American women wearing weave versus a pale European woman wearing weave. And YouTube kept taking down the post. And I'm like, okay, YouTube, it's over here trying to be shady, mixed shader. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like how platforms are always trying to silence you melanated American women about our issues and what affects us. And I know I say I'm not a social justice warrior, and believe me, I'm not. But however, when it does come to things that affect people like me, people that look like me, women that look like me, of course I'm gonna take it seriously because of course it affects me. And if I decide to have children, it's gonna affect them as well. So it's something that I can't escape from. Because whether you want to believe it or not, you melanated American women are still being discriminated against for our hair. It's a part of our culture, it's a part of who we are. And people who claim to be native to this land or indigenous to this land constantly bashing you melanated American Indian Negro women for wearing weave when it has been documented, it has been practiced in many other indigenous cultures way before colonization took place. And let's be honest here, you melanated American indigenous women, we are discriminated against when it comes to our hair, whether we're wearing weave or not. When we wear our natural hair, whether straightened or in its natural state, we're still being fetishized. People still gonna make sly remarks about our hair being real or not. It's just the same thing. And people have become so accustomed to disrespecting us when it comes to our hair, it's normalized. And it's because a lot of you melanated people in our communities are basically greenlighting the bull crap. And I'm so sick of people coming into indigenous spaces demeaning and degrading you melanated indigenous women and trying to talk about our hair. Our hair is a big part of our culture. And when it comes to weave and wigs, that is also a part of indigenous culture. And yes, it's not a part of all indigenous cultures and tribes, but however, there are indigenous tribes that practice wearing weave and wigs, especially during spiritual ceremonies. And that needs to be respected. And in this video, I'm going to focus more on the history and culture of our people wearing wigs and weave. First, I'm going to show y'all my sources of indigenous people wearing wigs and weave. All right, so first I want to talk about this book, Native Americans 22 Books on History, Mythology, Culture, and Linguistic Studies. This book is fire, and I haven't read everything, but I did come across this chapter that talks about hair and wigs of American Indians, right? Of course, right? So I want to start right here at but. This book says, and I quote, okay, so first up, I want to talk about this book, Native Americans 22 Books on History, Mythology, Culture, and Linguistic Studies. And I have to point out that one of the authors that contributed to this book, he's a quote unquote German American anthropologist, and his name is Franz Boas. And if you don't know who Franz Boas is, he is a man, a pale man who contributed to the out of Africa theory. Okay. So I think it's very interesting that this man contributed in some way, shape, or form to this book when it comes to American Indian culture. So interesting. I want to start right here at where they're talking about American Indians roaching their hair. Okay, so the book says, and I quote, but they do not roach their hair as I have seen the Pawnee do. They do not add false hair to their own as I have seen among the Crow of Montana and the Mojave of the Rio Colorado. They do not apply plasters of mud as they neighbors do in such a manner as to convince spectators that the intent was ceremonial, and they do not use wigs in their dances. Wigs made of black wool may still be found occasionally among the Pueblos, but the Apache do not use them, and there is no reference to such in their myths. Okay. The book goes also on to say it is to be understood that these paragraphs are not treating upon the superstitions concerning the human hair as such, but simply of the employment of wigs, which would seem in former days among some of the tribes of the Southwest to have been made of human hair presented by patients who had recovered from sickness or by mourners whose relatives have died. Wigs with masks attached were worn by Costa Ricans, according to Gap. Some of the Apache Yuma men wore long rows of matted hair behind, which are the thickness of a finger and 2 feet or more in length, and composed of old hair mixed with that growing on the head, or are in the form of a wig made of hair that has been cut off when mourning the dead, to be worn on occasions of ceremony. Now, check out this paragraph right here. Observations of the same kind have been made by Speaky, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that name right, upon the customs of the people in Africa and his Nile concerning the Kadai people. I'm not sure if I'm not saying that word right either. Kadai, Kidi, I don't know. Sorry. People at the head of the Nile. Okay, so like I mentioned before, this book by Katango A. Bungo, Civilization in the Ancient Egyptians, Bungo really went into detail about just how much Africa gets from indigenous Americans. I mean, the fact that anthropologists were putting out there that it was a quote unquote African drinking gourd that was found in a Cherokee mound, but yet Bungo said in his book that gourds came from indigenous Americans. Obviously, people, especially these anthropologists and scientists and such, they don't want to dive deeper into just how much indigenous Americans influence Africans. And not only that, but I want to back up back to the spiritual practices when it comes to our hair. Because people fail to realize that wearing weave and wigs can protect you from spiritual elements that can harm you. And it's a big reason why some tribes and some indigenous people wore wigs during their ceremonies. I want to show is a book called Clowns of the Hopi by Barton Wright. Okay. And I'm showing y'all this because I have talked about Hopi clowns before in my videos and in posts before too. So, red stripe clown in the Hopi tribe has a number of variations in appearance depending on location, time, and other factors. Also, the head of the clown is covered with a black sheepskin wig, the wool cut to a short length. Okay, so all this, oh, Indians don't wear weave. We do wear weave. We do wear weave. People love to sit there and be like, oh, well, y'all just trying to be like natives. Y'all want to appear to be more native. And, oh, y'all just want to imitate native women. Like, first of all, they over here selling 23-inch extensions on their quote unquote American Indian websites. You American Indian, right? You the quote unquote true American Indian with your Fio melanin and with your quote unquote bone straight hair. But you get 23-inch hair extensions. So who you really trying to shame, me or you? And Tasha, this is what she said. She said they forgot them perm boxes too. Okay, yeah, they be permanent hair too. It just don't make no sense how people be trying to come for us for the stuff that they be doing too. Like, folks be so hateful. They be so hateful and then think when we pull up the receipts that they gonna get the grace that they didn't give us. No, you gonna get this work too. Because if we bald headed for wearing weave, you a baby, you are cow, you okay. But anyway, the point of this video is just to show people that this is a part of our culture. Whether you want to believe it or not, you don't got to sit here and believe that it's a part of our culture or not. Now, am I saying it's a part of every American Indian tribe culture? No. But there are tribes that where weave and wigs are part of the culture, and that needs to be respected. Or otherwise, how can you sit here and say you an Indian, but you don't even respect Indian culture? I'm going to show y'all this video by Young Noble, and he included me in the in the video. I'm gonna play it without sound because I don't want to get copyrighted. So I'm gonna play the clip. But also I want to just point this out. I'm obviously wearing a wig in the picture. So yeah, but I'm just gonna come back with further commentary. She's wearing the wig. You could tell. You could tell with her too. Okay, so y'all have got the gist of the video, okay? So if you don't know, now you know. The woman you see on my screen is a Hopi native woman, and look at her hair. Pay attention to her hair. I'm pretty sure she's not wearing a wig or a weave, but you can tell that her hair is processed in some way, shape, or form. Her hair looks just like the processed hair that Young Noble had in his video I just showed y'all. So really pay attention and try not to get sucked up too much into these hair arguments because let's be honest. Now her hair do not look like your average quote unquote Native American hair. I know plenty of so-called black people or American Indian Negro people with hair like hers when it's processed like that. It's up to you to do your own research. At the end of the day, there are American Indian tribes that wore weave and wigs, and people just need to get over it. Thank y'all guys for watching. Thank y'all guys for supporting the channel. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the all notifications bell button to get notified when I go live. Thanks again for watching, and until the next time, bye.